Hello and welcome to the Friday Review of Games. I, as always, am Dan Galpin, and with me is...
It's Ko Kim, back from PAX.
Absolutely. We had a great time last week, and over to our right we have Ian Nee Lewis and Todd Kerpelman, which you'll see.
Otherwise known as Picture Start. Hey!
There
Hi,
we
everybody. I'm producer Ian. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? Yeah? All right. We've got new microphones today, so if you love the audio quality, let me know. If you don't love it, then I'm out about $800. That's going to suck. All right, so the beer today is actually a leftover from last Saturday's team barbecue. It is, and that's why the label looks so screwed up, because it actually sat in a tub of what used to be ice all week.
It's got a triple fermentation going on.
Exactly. You know what really killed me though is I didn't expect any of the beer to be there. I mean, it was basically out on my front porch where any hobo could grab it. And yet no hobo did. And I'll tell you why. I think it's because most of the homeless people around my house only come through the back because that's where all the recyclables are. Anyway, we got lucky this time. This is from the Single Hop series from Hermitage. It's Hermitage, right?
Yes.
Yes. What they do is they brew an IPA every month or two that has just one hop. And today it's Autumnum hops, or Autumnum, or Autumnum. And by the way, you may have noticed a newcomer. To my left is intern Todd. So
I was just in the hallway and they grabbed me. And
yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing here.
Todd's too young to drink, but he'll be getting us coffee later. Intern Todd, you should have said something if you wanted me to bring a glass.
It's I'll finish this water and then I will take some of that beer, some of that delicious beer.
Excellent.
If there's any left.
Yeah.
It smells really good though.
The feds are gonna grab us. All right. So back to Dan and Co for some drinky time and some gamey time.
So what are we going to talk about this week, Dan?
Well, we're talking about actually card games in general, and specifically in collectible card games. These are trading card games. We actually have 4 examples of that of those in our set today. We also have one which is just a fun card puzzle game that we've added as well. And these games, of course, are wildly popular on Google Play. Oh, and by the way, for all of you who are interested, I am actually wearing a garlic hat. This is probably not the best view of said hat, but I'm sure we'll switch to the other camera at some point in the show. You get
it's
to
not
see
really garlic, though.
No, it is.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Really, this was retrieved from Gilroy Gardens, which is really beautiful down in Gilroy. I know that beautiful in Gilroy and Gardens might not be something that actually jives for many of you who haven't been down there, but they did a beautiful job in the theme park, and so yes, to celebrate, I have this foam hat. So let's talk about the first game, and this game is kind of important because it has been for a while the #1 top grossing game on Google Play.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible when you think about it. And so I guess first up we're going to be talking about Rage of Bahamut. This one collectible card game from our friends out from Japan. It's published by DNA, but developed by CyberAgent. And so we're just loading up the game right here, right now. Not Dark Summoner. There, Dryland.
Oh man, he's giving away the whole show.
Not that. Wait, that is us though. That's good.
That's us. Wait, is it
not
on there?
Oh.
Wait.
I think I've gone through all of them.
That's not good.
I'll tell you what. Just put up that.
Oh, there we are.
There you go. Hey, all right.
Excellent. So, by the way, Rayto is filling in for Dan Pham. So, thanks, Rayto, so that Dan could actually eat something today.
So, my ineptitude is your reward.
It's unintentional comedy. We love that on the show. So, let's talk about Rage of Bahamut. Now, Rage of Bahamut is a game that I looked at, and I was like, what? Honestly, when I first looked at it, let's tell you what it looks like on a Transformer Prime.
All my friends in Asia talk about it. They're just like, oh, you should play. And I'm like, sure, okay, eventually. So why not? This week was the week to check it out.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at Rage of Bahamut. So there we are. Now this is running on a Transformer Prime, and one of the things you'll notice immediately is that this game was not in any way designed to run on a Transformer Prime. You'll see,
or any other tablet. It looks about the same on my Nexus 7 as well. But
exactly. And so you know what we're seeing here is the game is actually a giant web view. It actually uses web views and Flash in various parts of the game. This has some interesting side effects in the game. So you can tap to start a battle. Once again, you can see the interface is incredibly much like using a website.
Yep. So we can go ahead and go start up a battle or a quest.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm like being taken to another tutorial, but it's okay.
I was going to say.
Anyway, as it loads.
So the experience of this game is actually like playing a web page, in a lot of ways, and that does not actually detract from the game itself. The game is about greed, and about collecting really awesome cards with really beautiful artwork, and but it's really not in any way an Android game. It's really a combination of a bunch of technologies sort of thrown together to produce the desired monetization results. And which is cool. You can see here on the tablet, and I will in full disclosure, the game actually boots up and says, "Sorry, we've never tested it on this device. Good luck." When you actually try to run it on this. So props to them for recognizing that it's probably not going to be the best experience here. But again, see, we're actually getting to a quest.
Yeah, it's taking me a while. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm glad you're running it this time.
Right.
I'm sort of trying not to look at it the whole time. So because it actually is running as a web view, there are actually some interesting side effects. One is that so there we are. This is actually the game. You see, does go full screen rather nicely. The pixelization you're seeing is very real.
Right.
These are we're at like. Basically what I would describe as G1 quality graphics here. But and I think that's mostly because the game has loaded up artwork that is looking at the density of the screen only. And so if you're on a tablet like this, if you're going to go to full screen and you're going to be using MDPI or assets, it's just not going to look good because those assets are designed based upon pixel density and they would be really tiny on the screen.
Right.
So better actually that they're scaled up like this than leaving them really small. But you do end up with this kind of weird look where you have this really beautiful artwork, as you can see on the cards,
but
which
it's
show up
blocked on the menu at the top, so you can't even see what the name of the card is.
Yeah, I don't know what that card is.
Something Storm. I don't know.
Yeah. So which it'd be nice again. It hasn't been tested on tablets. Clearly, I wish they had done a little bit more work on that. You can also see that the game is a little bit cut off at the bottom of the screen as well. It looks like it's having issues with this aspect ratio, which again is kind of interesting because it's web view based. There is actually sound in the game. It does have stirring music that plays behind the game.
Yes.
And it actually does handle the sound correctly, as I recall from my basic test of this game. And actually does when you lock the phone or a tablet and unlock it, it actually does play the sound correctly. Now, one thing that's interesting here, you notice we're in the middle of a game, and you'll see at the bottom of the screen, or you may not be able to quite see on this, that there actually is the zoom and compatibility controls on there. And if we actually hit the back key from within the game, it actually goes back in the web view.
It goes back to
so
web
we can keep going back, and we can go back into our last battle.
And then replay the battle again. Yeah.
So which is kind of entertaining, I guess. I think this is sort of unintended consequences, but it is kind of surprising that there be this lack of detail. To be honest, in the game, it seems like and of course it doesn't navigate in the way we would expect an Android application to navigate. Because of that as well, and of course it doesn't actually do anything when you replay it. By the way, this is a server-based game, so it's really just replaying the client-side pieces of that last battle. So there you go.
So in terms of layout, definitely as you noticed. Even if you look at here, if you can't the bottom part, you have to kind of scroll up in order to see the full thing. But then the menu taskbar blocks the bottom.
Yeah, It's kind of a mess.
Yeah.
I think now that they recognize that people are excited about the concept of the game, and really that's what makes the game fun. There's social interaction. There's a lot of trading of really exciting artwork and cards.
Yeah.
The game is actually strategic. The further you get into it, the more there is. It's massively multiplayer. All that stuff
you
starts.
join orders. You team up with other people. You play against other people. And then there's also this really cool card evolution mechanic that I see in a lot of Japanese collectible card games. That's really cool too. So it also keeps you engaged even in a single player mode versus even a multiplayer mode.
And because it's basically a web game, this allows them to run all sorts of really interesting events, and that's really what drives a lot of people going back and playing the game. It drives a lot of the engagement. That's the word I was looking for.
Yes.
In the game is that you're constantly, every single week, they're running something new. There's some other reason for you to go and check in on the game. So this, one of the things that this actually says is that sometimes working out the mechanics of the game is actually more important than the elements in the game.
Right.
On the other hand, I would think that if they actually could combine these things, they would have a game that was even more successful. Right now there's a lot of 1-star reviews in the game who are just like, this game looks like ass. We're allowed to say that on the show? I'm not sure. But anyways, and I would love to see this game look and play and be as, and the other thing about it is the interface is confusing.
Right.
And I think that what I really want to see is an interface that actually doesn't potentially deter a new player. And a lot of what ends up happening with this game is that they really have to walk through the game pretty deeply in order to get it, because it is very cluttered and it is very hard to look at. So for a lot of reasons, if we were looking at a game that we thought was exciting, that did a lot of cool stuff with Android, this would not be it. But it is exciting in terms of the fact that they've created this dynamic community around the game.
Dan and Co., I just want to mention that during the time that you spent criticizing this game, it appears to have pulled in more money than intern Todd is expected to make over his lifetime.
Yeah, exactly. So what is
$80?
Yeah.
Oh man.
It kind of just shows you how much potential there is in this collectible card segment. If this is a game that can pull in a lot of revenue, and there's still a lot to be said about making. Consider how much more improvements you can make just by changing the UI, higher res assets, and then just fixing some of the weird control issues. You're just going to be converting a lot more players into paying a lot of stuff. Whoever is paying for this money must be a very dedicated player.
I have no idea, but I will say this. If I could make in a year what these guys make in a day, I would be very satisfied.
I think most people would say that for sure. So.
I have no idea what these guys are making, but what it comes down to is that game mechanics are important. And so this game demonstrates that if you have the right game mechanics, you can actually kind of slack off on other parts of the game. That being said,
I'm not saying slack off. It's a great start. So.
No, but what I would love to see is I would love to see this game actually go to a full, beautiful, polished experience, all around. And I feel if there are issues, as much as hitting the back key doesn't not only not do the right thing, but it actually goes and replays the last thing you did.
Right.
It just makes me think, did anyone ever actually try pressing that in QA?
Well, we see these things sometimes, right? These are the Blair Witch Project games.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
But again, props to them for creating a game that monetizes really well. And I think that they're going to take these learnings and they're going to put them into games that are more and more evolved in terms of design. And I think that's cool. And it's important to talk about this because again, the reason it's important to talk about this is it is the most popular, and one of the best monetizing things on Google Play. That being said, I don't want everyone to go out and run out and say they're going to make collectible card games. First of all, it really is not easy to design a mechanic.
Collectible card games are probably some of the hardest game design types of, in terms of game design.
Hardest to get right.
Hardest to get right. All the balancing, the different types of classes you have to make, all the gameplay. Yeah, this is very hard to do, guys.
And there is an enormous amount of artwork in this game.
Right.
Do not let my comments about the general look and feel and interface of this game underscore the massive amount of work that went into this game.
Right.
It is simply unfortunate that it seems like the last 20% of the work could have made the game 10 times better as an experience.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to break in one more time because Tom Yu on the YouTube stream has just mentioned that he's a longtime watcher, viewer, and he's got a game called Paddletronic Duel. He's been watching our show for months and has incorporated everything we told him to. And his game is now pulling a 4.6 rating.
Hey!
That's very
Yay!
good. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
thanks for giving us
I think I'm
Thanks
gonna,
for watching.
Yeah, let's put it in the hopper. Let's take a look at it later.
I'm gonna make a note of that.
Paddletronic Duo. Okay.
Paddletronic Duel.
All right, so let's go on to the next game.
Wait, I wanted to ask you guys one
Yeah.
question about. So you say this
So-
is primarily, using WebView to display just about everything.
Yes.
Does that mean that when I'm done playing on my tablet or on my phone, I could go to my computer, start up Chrome and somehow play this online? Do you guys know if
Yes,
there's
you
an
can.
equivalent?
I will say
Can.
there is one weirdness about this game, and I actually wanted to mention it. They do something which is very bad for the ecosystem in this game. And that is what they actually do is they read the identity of the device, and they tie the ability to get certain present within the game, not presence as in being here, within the game to that specific piece of hardware. So they read the hardware ID. Once that hardware ID has been registered with an account, it can never be registered with another account again.
It's kind of sad, to be honest.
This is the kind of thing that makes Android carrier partners very, very mad. Because what ends up happening is someone goes into the AT&T store, gets a refurbished device, comes back out with a device, tries to hook up Rage, and they can't get any presence on their device because someone else had already pre-owned the device. So please, please, please don't do this. I think that it's one of those things that we're starting to like less and less because we realize it has a really negative impact on the ecosystem. But this was the most blatant I've ever seen in this game. You have to verify your device ID, and it locks your device ID to your account permanently.
Yeah.
So really, really, I don't know what to say, but whatever you do not do this. I don't care what reason you think you might have for doing this. I know the reason why a lot of people try to do this is they sometimes tie presence to registering a new account from a different device. But don't do that. This is the one place in the model in which you're going to damage the ecosystem more than you are actually going to help your game. And things that damage the ecosystem make the guys at Google Play really upset, and they're less likely to promote the game. They're less likely to want to talk to you. They're more likely to, again, it's just common sense. But also, it doesn't make much sense to really tie hardware into a game. Like, that's not what it's about. It's about making sure that you can recognize when that user comes back. So that's about it there. I just wanted to mention that because it was particularly egregious.
Right.
Again, I'd love to see them actually target a newer SDK version. Although in truth, in this game, if you zoom to fill screen, it actually does look a little bit better. I've switched it to zoom. It does, as you notice, crash. But the game is so low res to begin with. As it turns out, zooming to fill screen actually might be the way to play the game. So if you're going to put this little effort into your tablet view, leaving that in there might not be the worst idea in the world. So here you'll see the zoomed version of the game, and actually this is what the game probably should look like. So tragically enough, this is one of those rare cases in which actually leaving the zoom button in is probably a good idea, just because the game is so weak at actually rendering at the real screen resolution. This game is kind of why the zoom button exists at all.
Right.
Is because we wanted to make sure that even if the game developer put zero work into trying to make things work on a tablet device, that users could still take advantage of this old kind of cruddy content on their tablets, and that's unfortunately, like, there's a lot of stuff that's really high res in the game that is now lost. So, but overall, I think the experience actually is better zoomed in. So.
All right, guys, let me just break in for just a second. First, to remind you that you're rambling again, Dan. I thought we talked about this.
I guess we should move on.
You're supposed to be going to meetings. Todd's your buddy. You remember that? Okay.
Yeah, okay.
All right,
second, we just had some viewer comments mentioning that there is not a theme on the moderator page for next week. And I remember we talked about this, and you wanted to go a slightly different direction. Do you want to talk about that really quickly so our viewers know what's going on?
Sure, we can pull the Rage of Bahamut logo off of the screen too. Now that we're talking about the show.
Well, I think it's like, because we decided to introduce themes so that we can highlight different genres and all that stuff. But it seems like some of our viewers think it's better to just kind of highlight each new games coming in this week. So we thought it would maybe worth a shot to be like, hey, every week why don't you guys nominate the games we should be looking at? And we will refresh that every week. But we'll take a look at the top 5 or 6 that ends up being voted the top, and that will be our show. So I don't know if you guys want to try that out. I don't know what you think, Dan.
Yeah, so the thought we had actually was kind of combining these, but I think for next week we are going to go for an unthemed week again, to go back to our old school style. Also, Co will not be here, sadly, sad to say, because she'll be off in Asia for Tokyo Game Show.
No, it's actually Korea first, and then Japan for Tokyo Game Show.
So she's on a whirlwind trip, in any case, yeah, so next week we're going to go without a theme. People just, we're one more week. You nominate whatever you think is cool. We'll go through the list. We'll pick the top games or some of the top things, based upon what we've looked at before, and then we'll probably go back to theming the week after. But we'll always try to save some slots to look at some of what's new, because that is some feedback we've gotten is that, hey, there's new stuff, and if I have to wait 6 weeks before I get to a theme that matches my day, that's not very, very helpful if what I really want is to get the ability to get some visibility through the show. So I think that makes a lot of sense. We're going to try a compromise there. All right, let's go on to the next game.
Next game would be Dryland, which is another collectible card battle game from our folks at Gree. And so very, very similar to what you've probably seen in the from the DNA folks in Rage Bahamut. It looks like it is another web view game. Slightly less obtrusive menu bars this time around, so it's nice. So
the design is actually kind of a combination of both better and worse on a tablet.
Right.
The better news is that it really does fill the screen, which is really great. The bad news is actually the buttons are really, really small.
And and if you notice, every time it loads a screen, it loads up some really weird white background with the Gree thing. So we'll go back into questing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It feels like there's a little polish missing there too. I'm not sure why that does that.
So this card game was actually really, really popular in Japan, and so they ended up bringing it to the U.S. And a lot of it is just, the point is you have all these hunter cards, and these hunter cards are what you would probably get from either questing or from going against other players or participating in special events. Just like as in any other collectible card game, sometimes you'll get normal cards, sometimes you get the super rare cards. And so here I am, I kind of lucked out. I got 2 rare cards in my first 5-10 minutes of playing the game. I must be really lucky. Yeah, and so
I think they actually like giving you some rare cards early on to get you kind of sort of like, all right,
this is cool. Yeah. I want a 4,902 attack power when normal cards are only 2,500.
Yeah,
makes going through the game a lot faster. So
it does. All right, well, let's play some quests here in the game. Once again, this is sort of a web style game.
I just hit an event.
Ooh.
Oh, I don't know if I want to play this dude. He kind of destroyed me last time.
Oh, really? Battle Dire Monster.
Do I want to battle Dire Monster? Well, sure.
Why not? We're demonstrating what happens when we lose that, and who knows, we might win.
Who knows? Right? See? And so this is another weird thing. Obviously this doesn't take this is obviously not a tablet optimized game. It only takes up
the
tiniest part on the upper third part of this game. So that's not fun. Oh, looks like I did win. And hey.
Yeah, again, and we're glad that the game works. This game actually does actually have the screen code in it correctly, so we can't zoom it in.
Right.
So again, it's kind of sad. We'd like to see the guys over at Gree actually work a little bit on getting this to run better on Android tablets. But it does run at least.
Yes, it does run, which is good. And the art style is really nice. I think it's really cute that they took a super deformed version characters for all the hunters. And you do pick up a lot of stuff. They have some really interesting elements. Same thing, evolving cards, just enhancing cards. Pretty similar mechanics. So I think that, all in all, that's really nice. And all the event structure is really nice too. But just like the Rage Bahamut game, if you press the back button, you will go back to
something you'd previously done.
Hey, look, I got another quest card again. No, it's actually the same exact event that I did last time. Anyway, going back to home.
Yeah. So you guys, is that because the back button is actually acting like a web server?
It's actually going straight into it's going straight into the web view, and so again, this is no attempt has been made to actually handle it, and so this is the default behavior: is that it moves through the web page, and it shows you actually just how much of the game is written as a web page. Now, one of the reasons that there isn't a lot of advantages to doing this. One of them is that not every platform allows you to iterate as quickly as Android does through the store. And so, if you're trying to create a really interactive game that has lots and lots of events, on some other platforms, this might be the only way to do it. But on Android, you really can actually, with the ability to update the game constantly, with the ability to run interpreters in your game, you really can actually avoid this, create something that's very tuned to the platform as well, and as well as very, very timely. And so I think I'd like to see someone actually go through and say, hey, with the ability to iterate rapidly on Google Play, with the ability to run interpreted code, let's take Android and really take it to the next level and make the next really awesome game like this something that is just a beautiful Android experience.
I think it is actually in our contract as Google engineers, we're not allowed to actually criticize HTML5, but we might suggest that HTML isn't the best way to write a game on Android. You're putting a lot of other things between you and the system. Yeah. And some of those behaviors make sense, but some of them don't.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it also is that this game does not make heavy use of any of the rich HTML5 features in terms of, like, they could make this game work offline. Oh, yeah. They could make the game, right now, if you do not have an active internet connection, it is not a pretty sight if you try to play this game. So there's a lot of things that just fall out of the fact that it's not just a question of using WebView. It's sort of a very minimalist use of HTML5. And again, people are doing amazing stuff with HTML5. This is not the game that is doing that.
Yeah, and I think one other thing is, unlike Rage of Bahamut, it actually has audio. Maybe I was only playing this on the one device that doesn't, but I'm playing this game on my Galaxy Nexus. There is no audio, and most collectible card battle games usually has some sort of epic background audio music album playing in the background, because you are fighting monsters.
Absolutely.
I feel like there should be some audio, so that would probably be another. You can't tell from this showcase because obviously we don't have audio playing, but it's probably one thing I would like, maybe.
Well, it does prevent them from getting audio wrong, though. I'll definitely give them. I'll give them that. So there are zero audio problems that we were able to detect with this game. Right. So congratulations to Gree for making sure they didn't violate any of our audio kind of declamatory issues that we usually have. That's great. I think we've seen as much as we're going to see of this game.
Sorry.
Let's go on to the next.
The next Japanese collectible card battle game. Exactly.
You notice the theme here.
Yes.
Now this game is interesting. They use a lot. Ooh, hold on. I've just jiggled. There we are. Now
they have some epic intro video here, which I thought was pretty cool.
This game actually uses a lot of video, and within the game, which is actually pretty cool. And it does make the game feel like it is richer. It also does a much better job of filling the screen and actually having a tablet-friendly UI. So props to them on that. It feels so old school from a UI perspective. It's really funny. So basically, from a general UI perspective, this is a lot closer. Like, I really do think that we're almost there. It still is using old school in terms of the API level that they're targeting. It still has the zoom kind of unnecessary button. One thing with web views that's interesting is that there are some challenges with using accelerated web views on ICS devices. So there is some extra testing that needs to go in there. I would say we didn't get everything right in terms of getting accelerated 2D working really, really well with web views on ICS. But that being said, this game would really, really be helped by having it. So I think I think it'd be worth their while to actually target the latest versions of Android and use acceleration, hardware acceleration. I think that a game would be a lot smoother. I'd be kind of curious to see. I haven't tried this. Just forcing it and seeing what happens. Do you want to go for broke? This is being done live.
I guess we're gonna do this live. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's just see what happens. We'll pull down.
Uh-oh.
It's either gonna die or it's gonna be totally awesome. So once again, one thing that's kind of fun that you can do in the developer options is you can actually do a couple things. We can show touches, but one of the things we can also do is force GPU rendering. So so this will now cause a lot of applications to crash, but it'll cause some of them to actually run faster. We'll see what if it see. All right, does it crash?
Doesn't crash, not yet. Well, the video seems to run.
The video's playing. That's a good sign.
That's a good sign.
But we'll see what happens. As I said, this is it's something that's very easy to do in your own games. You can actually even have your QA department or have a producer go in and turn this, flip this switch on, and just see whether it crashes or not. You'll get an idea, really early on whether or not there's going to be some engineering work. Let's see, bonus details. Not yet discovered.
All
right, let's go back into the actual game itself. But yeah, you see how much more smoothly this is scrolling now. Like, this is an entirely better experience, and all they would have had to do was target a recent SDK version to get this. So yeah, I think they should definitely do this. Now, whether or not we're actually going to run into a bug somewhere because of it, I don't know. The other thing that's fun is you can actually do a summon.
Right.
And it actually produces this kind of cool graphic, just to show you the fact that they've actually integrated full motion video into the game in all sorts of places. And so it is kind of fun. It adds something new. Also, again, you get some beautiful artwork here.
Yeah.
I mean, just really well done. And you'll see that actually this is something I've always suggested on the show, is that when you actually have text at full resolution, you actually can have fairly low resolution graphics and still have them look great. What looks awesome here is the picture and the Green Soul Banshee and the attack and defense and health, all the information about this card. It's actually when they get into this pretty text here is when things really start to look bad. The summon complete, and these alloy and soul points here at the bottom. So once again, I would say that you get a lot by actually using our built-in fonts and built-in text, or at least our built-in font rendering, in terms of keeping compatibility across a lot of devices. And as you can see, we actually are running the game. We are forcing GPU rendering, and the game so far hasn't crashed. So great. It's always nice to see that. Did you hit the back key, or did you?
I didn't hit the back key.
So this game.
Ally summon, I think.
Oh, okay, you allies them. Yeah, so this game actually does support the back key better.
Yes,
it does not. It doesn't do the weird thing and where it goes and replay stuff. And eventually, if you hit the back key, it's going to say return to the title screen. Okay, not so bad. So again, it is possible, even if you're doing something that's basically using a lot of web views, it's really quite possible to do the back key correctly. So props to this developer. There's still a lot of work, I think, that needs to go through to make the UI less cluttered looking. And I think that's really what is one of the things that's preventing these games from getting huge success everywhere. It's just the whole interface just feels like there's so much busy stuff going on. But once again, it's still.
We leveled up.
Oh no, I leveled up. Okay. Anyway, we leveled up, and so apparently I get to add points.
Exactly.
So anyway, there we go.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Nice.
So that's pretty much this game. There's not much more to say. As far as the mechanics, I didn't get a chance to play this game as long as some of the others. It does have this summoning concept in it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just very different. So
it had you could sacrifice some of your lower ranking creatures to help boost the level of your higher ranking creatures. I sort of like that, so that when you get a bunch of junk that you don't necessarily want, you have something useful to do with them.
Yes.
I appreciated that. I actually
thank you. Todd is currently not on the screen
because
our engineer,
our producer,
isn't
over. Look, I even got some beer.
Oh yeah, Daniel.
I stole this from Ian.
Todd was talking. We were trying to get your attention. Daniel's sitting there playing.
Daniel's playing his game right now.
I just lean over.
Exactly. There we are.
There you go. Wait.
All right. Woo! We've got like 1.5 Todd there.
I'm gonna say I really liked the creature designs in this game. I thought they were just sort of different and imaginative, and I was always kind of looking forward to see what kind of cool creature I was going to get next, in either through a battle or through a summon. My only complaint was the icon's a little boobalicious. And I would be sort of embarrassed to have this on my home screen if my wife saw, and it'd be hard to justify, like, no, it's actually a really good, collectible card game.
Well, at least you can say, honey, I'm doing this for work, right? It's not everyone else can actually make that assertion. So, but yeah, definitely something to consider too. Yeah. So I'm going to actually go back to the settings menu, turn that off. I don't think it's going to affect any of the rest of our games, but as a general rule, I don't want to get here on the Friday review someday and find out that all of our games are all
not working.
Are all dying because we've actually turned on GPU rendering. Most of the time, it's not going to cause problems. Most of the time, it actually works really, really well. But every once in a while, you'll run into something that doesn't like it. So let's just
So
for
I guess now, what's next? We are going to go play Shadow Era or Souls?
We're going to go to Souls. Now, this is
not technically a collectible card battle game.
No. But it's really fun.
It's fun. It's a card game, so it's a puzzle card game.
It's a puzzle card game, and actually, what I really love about this game is just how beautiful of a job they've done with the artwork and the user interface. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous game. I don't know why it's showing. Do you have it showing up in a small part of the screen there, Daniel?
I have it minimized a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's what I wanted. All right, cool.
There you go.
So
this guy just played a Mana enhancement cards, and now this card is ridiculously
powerful. Man, I don't have anything that can even come close. So this is going to be tricky to win. So I've got a couple of interesting options here. I have this kind of stupid powerful card here. This is a risk to play this. Because if he's got something that can take it on either side, I'm not
kind of screwed.
It's going to be hard to take it back. So that's the only issue there.
I think you should just give up.
At this point, yeah, I'm kind of screwed.
This is cool because they actually properly use the back button, and you can now exit. And
yes.
we're going to replay.
That's right.
So this is pretty cool. This is kind of like, I don't know, like there's a lot of card games like this, especially if you look at like maybe the Final Fantasy series that actually has a similar card game like this. But the point of the object of this game is that each card has basically a number, and that corresponds to the strength. And so all it really is making sure that that number is higher than your opponent's number when you want to take that card. Or as defense, it needs to be the same.
And it also has elemental buffs, so you can see this is the green element.
But you don't really have any.
But I don't have any green cards that can take advantage of that yet in the ones that I can draw from here. And so I've drawn, and it is a card game. I'm drawing the top 5 cards, and we can go and move these over. This is actually a fairly high level, so the chances of this card not being taken are really low. Because
you tried.
But I can take it back with this, and then we'll see whether or not the.
Shadow Era or
this is Souls TCG.
Souls TCG. We're saving Shadow Era for the end of the show.
Kind of screwed again here.
I have a shot at this one still. But
try that one. I'm over here. You think?
Oh no, actually, you know what I want to do? I want to take 2 cards at once here.
You want to take 2 cards at once?
Yeah, so the good news is this will actually lock up one of these 2 cards.
Right.
Which is good. That one in the corner there is mine forever. Mm-hmm. And actually, because
I think you're gonna win.
Yeah, because they played that, it's going to be tricky. Now they've locked up. They've made it so that card is pretty much invulnerable now to their own attack. But I don't have.
I think you probably need to play this and put it in the corner, right? Because you want to.
Yeah, the problem right now is I don't have anything. I can't take that card that they just played. Right. So this is.
Or you can put something here.
Yeah, I mean, for right now, this is probably the best thing. This allows me to protect the card above it. So now I've locked up that card, and I've made that one hard to take.
Right.
And now
it's like you're gonna win.
I'm gonna win, but there's it's not a particularly decisive victory in terms of. But at least that's
what you get a new card.
But I get a new card, and then I can actually go and play with my deck, and I can say, all right, well now I've got this great card that has a 9 on it. 9s are really important at this point in the game. I can take this one, swap that out, and then move here and swap this one back in. So again, it's a really fun game. And
there's different challenges too. You can go to different areas, fire, water, nature. If you notice, most of the cards you won were basically shadow element based. So if you want water or nature, then you go and play those levels as well.
Exactly, and again, that's part of the reason it's getting really hard is that I've only been playing Shadow. So.
Although I kind of wish they didn't have that back button on screen. I mean, if they could just make maybe I don't know.
Yeah, there's no reason to actually have the back button on screen. Now, the good news is that it actually works either way, but in this particular case, it's just adding extra stuff.
Right.
It does from a UI perspective, it's nice to not have like the deck button full screen, but I think they could do something else there. So that would be our preference. But there's lots of places in which it does really make a lot of sense what they're doing here. So awesome.
But overall, good job. Not collectible card game, but I thought it was really cool. It was a cool card game. So
absolutely. So you can see kind of what we're doing
I
here.
was saying it's like survival. All right. So last but not least, we are going to be talking about Shadow Era.
All right, so let's bring up the Shadow Era here. Shadow Era has the distinction of being the only of our card games. How very
That
nice.
are actually,
Yeah.
well, besides Souls, but at least out of the collectible card games.
That actually runs in landscape mode, which is kind of cool. It is kind of strange. It's not fully touch enabled. So you'll see here that I can't actually drag around the screen. I actually have to drag the little
scroll bar.
the scroll bar.
Guys? Yeah.
So this is a pretty direct port, I think, for the PC version of the game, and it kind of did suffer from that. However, that does not mean that it's not totally beautiful.
It's kind of cool. Check it out. High res, beautiful fonts.
And what's cool, this is actually the AI playing. So you can play against other players. You can also play against the AI. And what's cool about that is you can actually play against the AI completely offline. So this game can be played on an airplane. It's unlike all the other games which are tied into
What's cool is that you
the
can
web.
like touch a card. You see basically a bigger version of that, and check out the beautiful art, some of the effects to show that you're in sacrifice mode. So we gotta sacrifice a card.
So yeah, we should sacrifice a card here because the reason why is we want to get some resources. So we sacrifice that. That gets us resources. And that's all we can do on our first turn.
So you need resources in order to play like an attacking card or an ally card or cast a spell per se, which is actually a very interesting mechanic. Kind of brings in a lot of kind of the resource card games that you see. Let's say
So he's just
Dominion, for example.
Exactly. So they've just put out a fire snake, and that fire snake is going to
attack your.
My hero, yeah.
Your hero.
Right now,
But you
I
still need a sacrifice. You don't have enough resources to even play any of your cards right now.
Exactly. So we'll look at some of the things. Again, you can see the artwork is just absolutely gorgeous, and this game has actually been turned into an actual card game.
Right.
In addition, you can go here. That's actually a really good card. I probably should not have sacrificed that one.
That was probably the wrong thing to sacrifice. Oh
Yeah.
well. That's okay. It's a healing card.
But the good news is that I can actually play a card now. I think the only
you only can play a 2 card because everything takes 4. So
Yeah.
it's the only card you can play.
Yeah, you target opposing ally is disabled. That's good because they have an ally. So we'll cast this. We'll cast it on this guy, and now it can't do anything for 2 turns. And you see what's really cool about this game is that in addition to all of these card mechanics, they've actually got special effects that are associated with various cards. And so
I don't want to start. Hopefully, we can start playing the fireball, but
I know. That's always a good one to have, though. We probably want to play that one.
Actually,
Let's see. We need an ally, though.
we do need an ally. I think our fireball needs to go.
You think so?
Actually, no. Well, no.
Let's take special delivery. Actually, I don't think.
Anyway, so it's pretty cool. I mean, basically they have all these cool transition effects. I mean, showing
Now we can actually cast our fireball.
We're gonna play the fireball. Yep, and then
we'll cast that. We'll cast it on the hero. Target that guy.
Enemy, and look, check it out, fireball.
Oh yeah. So it's definitely really cool what they've done. And also, my favorite one probably is rain. It actually makes little droplets of rain appear all over the screen. Just lots of little things that immerse you in the game. There's also really epic music going on here. We don't have to sacrifice now. I think.
No.
I think we're okay. Let's not sacrifice it. Skip that. And let's go. We
cast.
can. We can actually. I don't
think that. Let's do friendly out. No, we can't play any of these. This only helps if we actually have allies.
I know. Well, no, we can do this here.
We can do that.
Yeah, might as well. Haha, you're going to be totally useless.
Right.
I just want to break in and say this is the dorkiest episode we've ever
It's collectible card games.
What do you expect?
When I was at PAX, do you know how many collectible card game tournaments that I saw live? Even in the bar, people are like, "Oh, you think that Magic the Gathering card is better? Look what I have."
It's awesome,
Boom.
Co.
I was
I'm
like,
just
whoa.
so glad you're on board.
Yeah, exactly. All
Actually,
right,
I was just playing Cards Against Humanity my entire time when I was at PAX, but that's another issue in itself.
Yeah, that's definitely that's lots of wrongness, but all right. So we now we now actually managed to get an ally, and that's all we can do this turn because we've
Right.
used all of our resources. And it's actually a real challenge in the game is
Yeah.
figuring out exactly when it makes sense to use something and when it makes sense
There's a lot of strategy involved, right? I mean, this is not for the faint of heart, really. It's not a very easy game. There's a lot of elements where you have to kind of think about how you're going to sacrifice to get your resources, or whether you want to take an action or a turn. I mean, basically, the game itself is over when your own hero is dead. So you want to try to get as many allies or that as possible. So
kind of depressing to have my ally killed in the very first round.
a little bit.
But you know.
But you have another. You don't want to sacrifice.
I don't want
that,
to.
do
No,
you?
no. I don't need to sacrifice anything.
No,
I've
I
got
think
plenty
you
of
need it.
resources. So I will cast my ally here, put him
Right.
out, and the turn. Oh, I actually could have done. Oh well.
Oh, you could have attacked.
I could have
That's
attacked.
okay.
Yeah, I should have probably done that.
Clearly.
Yeah.
But no, overall, really cool. I mean, like the background. I like the background overlay of the art. It's really cool to have that.
So let's talk about the things they probably should do. So a couple.
Right.
So they've done very very little in really making this game heavily touch optimized. It is
Right.
really set up for the most part for PCs, where I think the game came from. So some things that they do. So the rain is so awesome.
Right.
Which means I can't do anything right now because that's okay because I'm going to want to skip this and I'm going to want to actually cast out this guy and let's actually target friendly reduce forced armor. Sure, let's might as well.
Attached.
We'll attach it to this one here, and because that's my I think my most powerful one, and
then you want
this guy can actually. Oh no! Don't do it! Don't! I just killed everyone. Oh.
Oh, anyway.
Killed
Yeah, but it
all.
had a cool effect.
It had a cool
worth
effect,
it.
though.
It
Yeah,
did.
it
No.
showed a cool effect.
Yes, very cool. Anyways.
Anyways.
So that's what you want to not do after you put all
Right.
your allies on. So one thing you'll notice is the back button doesn't do anything in this game.
Yes,
So
back button does not do anything.
And that's problematic. Another thing, so they've
sorry.
done a little bit in terms of touch. So what you actually do if you swipe down, it actually brings down the menu. Which is cool. You can just flick it back up. You can get that same menu by tapping on the screen, but it's kind of cool to have that available there. But there's a lot of stuff that you really need to do in terms of making the game really Android friendly. Another thing that is you're actually playing with your decks and organizing them. You can't actually sweep across your deck to hover and look at cards.
So should we go back
yeah,
to
go to the deck. Yeah, kind of show you this interface. And also, this isn't very tablet optimized, as you can see. It's
it's only the top half. What?
It's the top half of the screen. You know, it's like there's all this really really cool stuff that you can that you can do. You're going to actually want to play with your decks,
Right.
and you really can't do anything here really easily. So this to me is where I want to see them make some changes, especially for tablets. But also, I want to be able to take my finger
and
slide
scroll
it across
them. Yeah,
without having to tap. Without having
you
to
have
tap.
to tap each and individual ones. And I mean, I have small hands, so it's probably easy for me to touch and tap the cards that I want. But I don't know, for people with larger hands or
Yeah, I also want to see on a tablet. I just want to be able to see a scrolling view.
Right.
Like I just want to see a list view with all of my cards separated out into blocks and just be able to scroll through it. And
and like zoom into the card, maybe admire the art and all that stuff. I mean, like that's what the collectible card games are about. I mean, it's all that art and that you want to see and like for all your characters. I mean, let your players like just kind of browse through card after card after card, right? Like.
So also, you can see like the options clear, save, or load. Not exactly exactly obvious. I hit clear. I don't think I wanted to do that.
I think you just cleared your entire deck.
I think so too.
Uh-oh.
All right. I see. That's for clearing. That's for taking into building a deck. We'll just save this back off. So the fact, what I was actually doing there, it was not clear.
Right.
There is a merchant. This is actually really nicely done too. You can see it gives you a nice view.
You can actually go and buy card decks.
Exactly.
So
and these
cool.
are not not purchased.
No back button.
I know.
So you can't really go back until you click it.
It's like, wait, what do I do to go back? I guess I tap on it again. Right. But this is again one of those places in which as an Android user I was totally confused as to how to navigate through this. But as you can see, there's a lot of stuff you can do here. You can also buy shadow crystals, which is how you buy these things.
Right.
You can earn them through offers. So there's a nice model here. But as I said, I think there's just a little bit of work that needs to go into it to make it really Android happy. So, and again, like this is the navigation. It's just this thing at the top. So it's
a little confusing. So.
Yeah. Definitely a little confusing. There is also online battle. You can actually play against online users and fight them in battles, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, you can't even scroll down the list. You got to use
I
the
have
scroll
to use the scroll bar again. So just so many ways in which this game could be made so much more awesome. But out of all the games we've looked at, it's the one that it's I think the most interesting. Honestly, in terms of
lots
its
of potential, great ideas, great art, great use of time. I mean, it looks really good on this tablet. It looks good on my Nexus 7. I mean, and even on a card.
But what it doesn't have is actually, again, the crazy amount of interactivity in terms of, like, what's great about Bahamut is that every time you go into it,
there's a new event.
There's a new event. There's something going on, and this game, because it is more fixed in its design, it really is about these awesome cards and this great card game, which is very, very much like a card game you'd be playing at a card table.
Yep.
But it does not have all the additional stuff that Rage of Bahamut has, and
right.
I think that's what is one of the main things that differs these games. Even though I love a lot of the presentation here, and I would say I wish this is where Rage of Bahamut needs to go.
Right. Like if Rage of Bahamut looks like this, it's basically golden.
Yeah,
I would think. So.
Yeah, I mean it's it's gonna do even better than it's doing now.
Right.
It's gonna make me want to play it. Honestly, this game is the one I want to play, but at the same time I recognize that I want to play it because I love card games, and it's gonna drive me back to it because the game is just so well thought out.
Right.
Like that, and not because there's external factors that are gonna drag me into the game. So I'd like to see these guys do a little bit more in terms of making the game universe dynamic. I very much want to see the Rage of the Bahamut guys take a look at this in terms of the kinds of presentation they could do. And again, there's lots of little things here they still need to do in terms of making the game a better touch-enabled experience.
Right. But all in all, great start.
Exactly. So that's our show. Again, collectible card games. It's an interesting category because it monetizes so well, and honestly, these games are really fun. I mean, even though the overall design is simple, like we're not talking about heavily dynamic games that have all sorts of real-time events going on.
Yeah.
I mean, even Shadow Era, has some 3D in it, but it's pretty limited. And so, we're talking about games that ultimately are about lots and lots of artists and designers getting together and putting something together that's compelling, really based upon those factors, not about just visual appeal. It's actually it's very similar in my mind to a lot of the games that monetize well, which is often games that are just really well thought out, or slots. Pretty much,
slots.
Yeah, or poker. It's
poker.
Like, but those are games that are well thought out. They're designed to be addictive, and that's why they're successful.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's the joy of trying to find that one rare card that's going to take you, like.
Absolutely, or getting to that bonus level in the slot machine,
monster, or that bonus slot machine, or that extra multiplier. So anyway,
exactly. So next week, the moderator page is gonna, if it's not up already, it'll be up soon to nominate again whatever games you're interested in seeing on the show. Ko is not going to be here, so we're gonna have another motley crew.
I'll be gone.
But that's okay. We should be hearing from Ko and her experiences over at in Asia, and eventually at TGS, which is always exciting. And so that'll be fun. She'll be our official Asia correspondent here. and other than that, on the Friday review, I think we're pretty finished.
Set.
Yeah.
Thanks for Todd for joining in as a guest host. Welcome. He's probably going to take my place next week. So Ian, love your Triple Town shirt. So
and
thank you guys.
And thanks as always to Daniel Pham for coming in and being our technical director here. And we really missed you in the first few minutes of the show.
We missed the Daniel Pham.
Oh, come on, Rachel was fine. I think he didn't even mute you for the first few seconds.
Well, that can be looked at as an advantage or a disadvantage depending on how you view the show. All right.
I'm sure I was missed. But I'll hear stories later, right, guys?
Oh yeah.
Sure. Maybe.
Absolutely.
Right.
Of course.
I guess.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks everyone. Have a good weekend. Have a good Friday. Bye.